Okay, I'm going to go ahead and call the February 20th Board of Trustees meeting to order and ask everyone to please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Yeah, I'll do a roll call. Yep, do the roll call first. Go ahead. Roll call.
Trustee Kashaba.
Present.
Well, just you gotta wait.
Yeah, just we'll have you participate once we take the vote. So.
Okay.
Trustee Saturn.
Present.
Trustee Narodowski.
Present.
Trustee Ingraffia.
Present.
Supervisor Sweeney.
Present. Trustee Kashaba asked to participate telephonically. If you just give the reason you needed to participate telephonically, Trustee Kashaba.
I have 2 ailments that I'm taking medication for,
Okay.
and I sent a doctor's note over to the Township via fax.
Okay, thank you very much. So if I could have a motion to allow Trustee Kashaba to participate by phone.
So moved.
Moved by Trustee Ingraffia. Is there a second? Seconded by Trustee Narodowski. Roll call, please.
Trustee Kashaba. Trustee Saturn.
Present.
Trustee Narodowski.
Present.
Trustee Ingraffia.
Aye.
Supervisor Sweeney.
Aye. Okay, so Trustee Kashaba can participate by phone. Moving on to public comment. Any public comment? Okay. Seeing none, item D on the agenda, discussion of potential action on approval of minutes from January 22nd, the board meeting, and February 10th, the committee of the whole meeting. Questions, corrections on any of those minutes?
The committee of the whole meeting, it says Bob Ingraffia was there and he wasn't. He was out of town.
Okay, so we'll remove that from the minutes. Any other changes, questions, additions? Okay, can I have a motion to approve both sets of minutes
So moved.
with the change?
Yes.
Okay.
Second.
Moved by Trustee Saturn, seconded by Trustee Narodowski. Any further discussion? Okay, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, you've had a chance to review the bills and payroll. Any questions about the payroll and the bills?
I just had one question on the Chase card.
Yep.
Chef Ping in Rolling Meadows for $286.65. What was that for?
I believe that was for the MTA meeting.
So we just paid for our people?
What's that? We paid, when we host, we pay. When other townships host, they pay.
So was that like the MTA board?
No, that was for the MTA meeting that you
Oh,
attended.
so it was the
Yeah.
food from that for everyone?
Right,
Okay,
correct.
great.
Yep.
Thank you.
Okay, any other questions about the bills and the payroll? All right, can I have a motion to approve the payroll and bills as presented?
So moved.
Moved by Trustee Saturn,
Second.
seconded by Trustee Ingraffia. Any further questions? Roll call, please.
Trustee Kashaba.
Aye.
Trustee Saturn.
Aye.
Trustee Narodowski.
Aye.
Trustee Ingraffia.
Aye.
And Supervisor Sweeney.
Aye. Motion carries. That's all right. All right, so under presentations, first up, Kenneth Young Center, the annual update. So if you want to step to the podium, that'd be great.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi, everybody. My name is Susan Cowan, and I am the Chief Executive Officer and President of Kenneth Young Center. I'm here with Tish Rudnicki, who's here with me as our Chief Program Officer, and we're just going to do, how much time do we have? 5 minutes? 4 minutes?
What's that?
How much time?
Yeah, what did you
Five?
say, just 5, yeah, okay.
5. Okay, thanks, Paul.
Can we allow some time for questions? That'd be great.
Absolutely. So we're just here to give our annual update. As always, we're grateful to be in partnership with Elk Grove Township. We provide significant mental health services to the township residents. You'll see in the packet that we sent, I'm just going to briefly kind of go over, who we are and what we do, and then Tish is going to briefly talk about the different services that we provide. We've been in doing this work since 1970. We've been in partnership with Elk Grove Township actually since 1970. We serve people as young, little ones, as young as 3 and as old as 105. We have 25 teams across our agency, and we've engaged in an agency-wide team building initiative, which we're really proud of, to have excellent results for people with mental health and older adults in our communities. You all know our mission. We help people feel good, do better, and find solutions. You can see sort of how we're organized just based on this PowerPoint right here. Going quickly, just talking to you a little bit about our support. The majority of the funds that we do receive are in both government funding and through managed care organizations. An important statistic for you all to note is that in Elk Grove Township and in Schaumburg Township, which are the 2 townships which we predominantly serve, over 93% of the people that we serve earn less than $10,000 a year. So we mostly work with the Medicaid population or people that don't have insurance and can't afford to pay. And so you'll see that we also support our services through fundraising, of course, with different events and our walk and things like that. We are fiscally sound. We have investments that we've been earning a little bit off those investments recently that help us. We have an electronic health record, actually the largest one in the state of Illinois. We have 55 agencies that utilize our electronic health records, so we have a shared service agreement with that entity that has that electronic health record, and that brings in about 9% of our revenue every year. So again, we're grateful for the township and the work that we do with you all and the support. I think together we certainly know what's happening in the news and the things that are going on in the world. And we are hopefully you got my newsletter just recently. We are the place to call when people are in need. So quickly, Tish will just review the various services that we provide, starting with psychiatric services.
And I'll leave this here on the side. This is our sort of one-page information about the services that we have. But we have a full range of psychiatric services, as Susan said, for kids as young as 3, and we serve older adults as old as 105, both with psychiatric services for the older adult group as well as social services. So we're the state provider of those services in Elk Grove and Schaumburg Township as well. For the child and adolescent services, though, we do a full range of community mental health, from individual therapy to family therapy, to working with kids in groups, to working in their high schools in sort of the caught on campus type groups. So we do some work with substance abusing teens, really the full comprehensive range. We also have family education and positive youth development, which is sort of prevention programs in all of the school districts, both the elementary as well as the high school districts. So sort of getting them on that front end with prevention and really talking with parents as well as kids in the schools about how we can identify needs and then hopefully jump on those before they get too serious. One thing that sets us apart from some community mental health centers is that we have a child psychiatrist on staff full-time. So to provide services to our Medicaid population, prescribe medication, do psychiatric evaluations, it's really a key piece in what we do, and unfortunately sorely unfunded by the state. But it's something that we feel that is very important. We have similar psychiatric services for adults as well as substance abuse services and the full range of psychiatric, from individual therapy to family, couple, group therapy. We have a psychosocial rehab program for folks who are chronically mentally ill and need more structure in their day. We have a drop-in center in Mount Prospect, which is open 364 days a year for folks who need that sort of community connection and a little structure. And we also provide support services in 2 apartment buildings, permanent supported apartment buildings, one in Elk Grove Township. So really, again, the full range of services to a large, we think it's large, 4,000 clients. Seems like a lot to us because it keeps us very busy. That's excluding the older adult clients. That adds another 9,000 clients all in so it's a large amount of service that we provide across the communities. We also have SAS services. That's the one thing that I left out, which is the screening, the crisis assessments of kids, and that's another large piece of what we do. And connecting kids, helping them to stay out of the hospital so that they can connect to community services as opposed to being hospitalized. What have I left out?
Nope, that's it. We have a walk coming up, and do we have the date of the walk on there?
The June,
June 9th is our walk, and we would love for you all to come. It's probably going to be our largest fundraiser of the year. And again, we appreciate your support. And in any way that we can support the township to get the message out about our partnership, we'd love to do that. Right now, we have profiled on our website Schaumburg Township, so we'd love to profile Elk Grove Township as well on our website, through our blog and everything, because we value very much the partnership. So thank you.
Very good. Thank you.
Any
questions?
Yeah. Does anybody have any questions?
I just wondered, how are you doing with payments from the state? Like, is it way behind, or?
No, it's not as behind as it was when
Okay.
we didn't have a budget. Now that there's a budget, payments are definitely moving quicker.
Okay.
We're also, because we're a Medicaid provider and a lot of the work we do is governed by consent decrees, we tend to be paid a little quicker than some other
Okay.
providers that are funded through the general revenue funds. So financially, we're doing okay. We can always raise more money, but to do, like what Tish mentioned, psychiatry, you know, we have 2 full-time doctors on staff, and we receive about 50% of their cost, the expenses, reimbursement from the state. The other 50% we have to raise dollars for and figure out how to pay for their. But for the residents of the townships, it's really, really important to have psychiatry.
At one point, there was discussion of the refocusing kind of the, I wouldn't say the mission, but in terms of the programs. Has that continued, or is that not happened, or how has it happened?
Well, great question. We're just started a strategic planning process. So we've hired a national firm to work with us on really our vision for the future, because what we know with the healthcare landscape is it's constantly changing, and we can't rely upon Medicaid or, you know, any sort of public funds to be in business for the duration. What we need to do is figure out how to expand into commercial markets and how to raise additional private dollars to supplement the most needy and most vulnerable populations. So that's what we're entering into right now, is a 6-month planning process to figure all that out, because we can't just do things that way we've always done them. Thank you.
Any other questions?
thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, we have 6 presentations from agencies who've requested funding, new groups to us. So we just want to go down the agenda and listen to representatives from these groups one by one. And first up is A Caring Place. So,
That could be different.
Right, okay.
I told them that I would give them a chance to draw to see who goes first. So,
Oh, okay.
as number 1,
Okay.
so
tell
if you could just tell us who you are, and that'd be great.
Okay.
Who is this?
All right. Well, good evening. My name is Karen Proctor, and I'm the team leader for school-based services with Amita Health, Alexian Brothers Center for Mental Health. I'll let you get your packet if you need to. The Center for Mental Health opened in 1962. We are located in Arlington Heights, and we provide comprehensive, evidence-based treatment for adults, children, and adolescents with emotional problems and chronic mental illness in the northwest suburbs. Most of our clients that we see receive professional mental health professionals offering psychosocial rehabilitation, case management, psychiatric services, medication management, supportive living, supportive employment, and education. We do individual and group therapy and partial hospitalization, and we have a school-based mental health program, and that's what I'm here to talk about tonight. About 9 years ago, we were selected to pilot a school-based mental health service in public schools. And Elk Grove High School was one of our first schools that we went to. And the funding expired about 6 years ago. However, the center has been aggressively seeking out private donations and corporate funding to sustain this program and have it expand. We're currently in 10 public schools in the northwest suburbs. Elk Grove High School, we've been with since 2009, and Rolling Meadows, we've been since 2010. We are the only school-based program in the area, and let me explain what that means. That means We have a counselor 1 day a week for the whole school year in the school, the whole day. And the reason why this is a little different is we're finding that there's a barrier when it comes to having programs coming into the school, is that the kids have difficulty with transportation, they have difficulty with the mental health stigma, and they also have other situations at home where their parents can't get them to the school and funding. So here we have a counselor in the school that's helping them. If you look at the high schools, there's about 1,900 students per school in each of those schools. There's about 10 counselors. So they have about 200 kids on their caseload. And most of those kids, the ones with the IEPs and the 504s, those are the ones that they have to work with first. The Amita counselor gets the kids that are falling through the cracks. So we provide individual and group counseling. Right there, we help with crisis. We also help with what is called SOS, which is signs of suicide. We had a situation last year where the counselor was in there working with one of the freshman classes, and 2 students walked up to Allie afterwards and said, we need to talk to you now. And so they pulled the child off to the side, and in his pocket was a note that he planned on killing himself that evening. So it was kind of like, here we are, we're right there, we don't have to wait till the end of the evening and have mom and dad drive them somewhere. We have someone in the building. The counselors, I think, are overworked, so this is an opportunity for them to have someone in the school. So some of the groups that we offer are grief support, coping with stress, anxiety, anger management, and depression are probably some of the groups. And what we do is we work with the counselor at the school, and then we help them with it, so that way we can have more kids in the group, and it works very well. That way you don't have 2 counselors from the school taking time away from that. A counselor at one of these schools had said to us, having a community mental health resource in the school on a consistent weekly basis has made the difference for many of our students in getting the help that they need. Our goals: early intervention, improve students' social and emotional health, help boost their academic performance, reduce absenteeism and truancy, can't say it, provide access to mental health services in the school, and help families and schools recognize signs and symptoms of mental illness early, okay? So a student that I've worked with was Dan, and he was just kind of the average kid, got basic grades, did okay, got B's and C's, thought everything was fine, and then one day his mom came home and she was identified with cancer. And then his dad needed to not be at work as so much, needed to be at the hospital with his mom. So then he had to kind of take care of his brothers and sisters. And it really took a strain on Dan's, to the point where his grades started going down. He wasn't coming to school on time. He was kind of, making it in and out of sports. And one of the teachers identified him and referred him to the Amita counselor. And what we did was we got him into a group, coping with stress. And all of a sudden he was like, I'm not alone. I'm not the only one who's dealing with this kind of stuff. And we all have these issues. And it's kind of like just knowing the strategies and what to do. And he learned that he could talk to other people. He could reach out for help. Because he wasn't talking at home because he didn't want to tell mom and dad how much he was worrying. So this is something that we do. So what I'm asking for you guys is to help us continue this program in Rolling Meadows and in Elk Grove High School, because we really think it's a need, and it's something that for a full year we have a counselor in there that can help out. And anytime there's a crisis, they drop what they're doing and they go in on the day of the crisis. So, okay, that's my spiel.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Questions from the board?
Sounds great.
Okay, thank you very much.
Karen, what was your position again?
I'm the team leader for school-based services.
Thank you. All right, who's up next?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Gigi's.
Hi, everyone. I'm Margaret Dillon, and I'm with Gigis Playhouse. We are your neighbor to the south, about a half mile. We're located in Hoffman Estates. We are Down Syndrome Achievement Centers. We provide free programs to all ages, people with Down syndrome. We really got our roots here in the township. In 2003, there was 1,000 people standing outside of our offices, and that was the beginning. It was neighbors and friends and people from the township. And from that one playhouse that was founded then, we're now in 36 locations in the United States and Mexico. So it just responds to a need for its free educational and therapeutic programs. So as I said, we have our roots here in the township. We've served over 600 residents since we started. And also, we don't get public funds. We really rely on the support of individuals and donations and foundations. So 240 families from the townships have donated a total of over 140,000. So it's really through the friends and the families and those relationships that we've come to be. Over the last 12 months, we've served 33 residents in our programs. And we're really excited to be applying for this program, which is GiGi Studio, which is really the career development and transition, from high school to be able to get the skills to have a job in the community. So our career development program has 3 parts. There's GiGi University, which is a classroom curriculum piece that teaches those career skills. There's an internship through our Hugs and Mugs, which is the GiGi Studio, where it's a cafe and a designability studio. So adults are making their own designs. You can put a business logo here, so it develops partnerships in the community. And they have such pride in being able to create that and then have it be sold and displayed at our Hugs and Mugs. So it's really a unique experience, not only for the people that work there and are trained, the adults with Down syndrome, but the community comes in and it's teaching acceptance. It's building those relationships in the community. So many of the jobs, too, for people with developmental disabilities are behind the scenes. But these are providing skills where people are face-to-face, or customer service skills. It's designing something. It's being with people in a completely different way. And personally, I've only worked there about a year, but walking into the Playhouse, it's a phenomenal environment of acceptance that I feel like there's hardly anything like it in our community. So I encourage you all to just come also, get a cup of coffee. It's not Starbucks, it's different. People are learning things. So in our program currently, we have 2 of our all-star interns are from the township. One of them, Chris, has really been a transformational story. His mother passed away. His father had bad health issues, and he was introduced to Gigis Playhouse. It really transformed his family. His father came in later and said, you lifted us all up as you lifted Chris up. He went from kind of a untalkative young adult to being a leader, where he's moved on from being an intern, they call him a shift leader now. He just got a job this past week, actually, working for an orthodontist office. And it's been such a phenomenal opportunity for that family to have him be raised up. And this commitment of funding would really help us develop this into a really model, a flagship program for us here in the community. And we're the national headquarters, so we also use those best practices, and it gets launched to the entire country and beyond. So again, we also look at this as an opportunity to partner with businesses in the community, to bring them in, have them do mugs, do events. We also bring in school districts for field trips. So it's really, even though we serve this many officially in our programs, we're serving the businesses every day. Through our events, we're having people come in and volunteer as well. And we currently have 28 adults in our Hugs and Mugs program. That's interns working 50 hours a week that we're open. So again, it's really a transformational program, and we're grateful to be able to introduce Gigis Playhouse to the township, and hopefully develop a relationship over these years. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Questions?
Where is it in Hoffman?
We are close to the Alexian brothers on Barrington and Higgins.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
All right, number 3.
Good evening. My name's Fred Chin. My wife, Cindy Chin, and back there are co-founders of a relatively new social service agency called Connections of Illinois. Karen is passing out a PowerPoint presentation and a brochure that you can take a look at. We didn't want to take the time during this evening to go through that much detail. But in short, we got introduced to Elk Grove Township. Lisa Minich is in the General Assistance Office, and she found us. And essentially, we're a social service agency that fills gaps in the network of services that are provided. So not only do we serve the individuals and families, and we have done so for the past 3.5 years, but we also serve agencies. We serve townships. So Palatine, Cuba, Hoffman, Schaumburg are all within our network of townships that we assist in. And probably the key thing that we do is we maintain and build relationships with other agencies. We have over 40 agencies right now that we are connected with on a fairly intimate level. We have a working knowledge of their criteria, their capacity, what they do, what they don't do. So where many residents of Elk Grove, as well as many other places, when they need assistance, they don't necessarily know where to go. Lisa, when she helps that resident as all she can and she doesn't know where else to go because there's other needs, that's when she came to us. And then we finished essentially connecting these residents to the services that they need. As we expand, we're finding that virtually everybody that we serve has some kind of a challenge relative to housing. So whether they are homeless or whether they are at risk of homelessness, we have this situation where how do you help them fill that gap? How do you help them avoid becoming homeless? And it's not just about giving them money, but it is about the support services underneath that. So we have within our network people and agencies that do that kind of work very, very well. It's just people can't find them. So our focus, and Karen is our multi-services community coordinator. Her whole job is knowing what you guys do and what you don't do. Same thing with Schaumburg, same thing with Palatine. So you have a lot of services, but where there's gaps, she knows when to take a Elk Grove resident and say, oh, the township can help you with this, and she connects you with those services. But if the township can't do that, then Lisa will just kick that person back to us, and we pick up from there, and we provide some continuity of case management, so you have one person who's just always there for that individual. As we talked to Lisa, she was very grateful and excited about doing business with us. We said one of the things that would be helpful is how do we do more than just provide those connections? If we could actually help fill the gap where state funding isn't there or local funding isn't there, how could we help fill that, maybe that initial security deposit to get that family into that home, those types of things, or to save them from getting evicted, that type of a situation. One very unique thing that we worked on this past year, actually with the state government, is there's a federal bill called McKinney-Vento. Are you familiar with that at all? Mm-hmm. Okay, so McKinney-Vento is a HUD program that basically provides transportation services for homeless. So if a child starts in school, they have a right to stay in that school for the whole school year. So if they go from shelter to shelter, it's up to the school districts to pull them over to that school. Well, when you talk about administrative costs and transportation costs, to transport this student day after day after day and arrange that transportation, you're talking hundreds, if not thousands of dollars a month that can go into that. So we worked with a group of people and ultimately drove through a House Bill 261 that gave the school districts the authority to divert that money instead of paying for transportation, but to be able to supplement and provide supplemental housing assistance. So now you bring stability to the whole family, and you save the state money because it costs them less, and you bring much more stability to the student. Those are the types of things that we're working on, and we certainly are looking at bringing in more holistic solutions for affordable housing into all the communities that we work in, and we certainly would be doing that within Elk Grove Township. Whether we receive the grant money or not, we're still going to do that. But if we could receive some grant money that could assist us in assisting the residents of Elk Grove to bridge that gap and to avoid some of those things, that's really what we're looking for.
Right now, we're 100% funded by the Chins, and we do get some donations. So as we grow and spread and help more people, we're just hoping to get grants and be able to do what we've been doing successfully further and further.
Right, so there's none of the money that would come to you or come to us from you has anything to do with administration or anything. We could earmark it, and we could say only those residents in Elk Grove would receive the funds, and we could certainly give you a report. So because we're private and we're 501c3, we would be as transparent as you'd like us to be. And we're somewhat open-ended on our ask because we also don't fully understand what Elk Grove Township needs, right? So we would work very closely with Lisa, and as she would feed people to her, we could help a lot, I think. You know, it really depends upon what you grant us with.
One other thing I want to add real quickly is, will you tell them a little bit about AHAND and how we're on the board for AHAND?
Sure. So we are also, we are on the board of the Alliance to End Homelessness in Cook County. So we sit on a board that makes decisions around where the $11 million that comes into the county every year, where does that money go? So we're very serious about having a voice about homelessness and how do we bring homelessness solutions into the marketplace, and we're planning on extending that as we go through in the coming years.
And that, our homelessness is their main focus, but we also do anything from legal assistance to, food pantries to people that need financial counseling and need job, we promote job fairs. We work closely with people, helping them, get resumes, and work closely with people that want to get better jobs and learn English and that sort of thing. But our main focus, we see that people really need housing. Affordable housing seems to be where we need to put our main compass, and we've been very successful in getting to the right places and the right people. We just want to continue.
Any questions?
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
Hi, everybody. My name is Becky Trainer. I'm here from Resources for Community Living. Let me start by being very clear and apologize right up front. Normally, you would have Fred Stupin. He's our executive director, and he would be here this evening presenting, but unfortunately, he's out of town. He approached me the other day and asked me to kind of slip on in with this. I have no experience doing this kind of thing at all. I'm the volunteer coordinator at RCL. I do a little bit of the office work, so please bear with me, and don't hold it against RCL because I'm the one here representing, okay? We are a small 501c who works with developmentally disabled adults to try to help them live as independently as possible. We have 47 clients currently that we provide services for. We're a small little agency, but we've been around. This is our 25th year this year. We're located out of Rolling Meadows. Some of the things that we provide, and I'm going to look at my notes, so bear with me here. Some of the things that we provide services for are towards things like affordable housing. Now, we ourselves do not provide the housing, but we can help our clients get into group homes, or some of them have their own condominiums, their own apartments, things like that. So we try to help them find a way to find a place to live. Another one of the things that we do is our Financial Independence Center. That's a relatively new program for us. We have brought on financial coaches that can sit and do one-on-one meetings with our clients and help them, as it sounds, work out their finances, okay? What's their credit score? What have they got going into savings? What does their future look like? Things like that. We all live in the state of Illinois, and we know the money there is just not there like it used to be. So these people have to find ways to help themselves live on into the future. One of the other things that we do, individual support services, and this is something that we do a lot of. We have two caseworkers. One is full-time, one is part-time for us, and they work a lot on an individual one-to-one basis with clients. Things like how to fill out a job resume, how to prepare for a job interview, how to clean your apartment, how to pay for a bill, how to go grocery shopping. All those day-to-day basic functions that help them, again, to live as independently as possible. Vocational services for us, again, as I said, we help them with job interviews, job placements. We can do job coaching if they need somebody within the job itself to go along with. We also provide all of that for them. And one of the funnest things that we do, and this is one of the things that I'm involved in, is we do social outings with our clients. Once a month, we find a way to get together and get our clients socially active. As a lot of you, I'm sure, know, when you work with the developmentally disabled, a lot of times there are social anxiety issues and things like that. And the best way to combat that with some of them is to get them out there and to work with them in that. So we'll go bowling, or we'll go mini golfing. We're having a pizza party next Wednesday. That kind of thing, where it's going to be board games and pizza and things like that. Again, it's a great way for our staff to be able to work and see how the clients are interacting, see who needs maybe some more help in an area like that. And of course, it gives them a chance to interact with each other. Most of our clients, I will tell you, even though we're a small group, we're a very tight-knit group. And our clients, many of them have been with us for the entire 25 years that we've been around. I personally have been with RCL now for 5 years. It has been an eye-opening experience for me. I live in Woodstock, and I drive out here 2 nights a week. This is my part-time job. I have a full-time job back in Woodstock, but it's not about me. But it's an awesome experience for me to get to come out here and to work with these individuals. They are amazing people. And hopefully with help from people like you, we can continue to do what we do. That's the whole idea behind it all. And the last thing I'm going to say before we get to questions, April 7th is our gala. This year we will be at the San Filippo Estate in Barrington. If you haven't been there, you need to come. It's an amazing place. You can learn all about us at our website, info@rescalive.org. And I hope you don't have too many questions, but if you have questions, I'm happy to answer them. And any questions that I can't answer, I brought my notebook, and I'm happy to take notes and be able to give them to Fred, and he'll be happy to get back with you with, anything that I can't answer. So there you go.
Very good.
Oh, thank you.
Any questions?
Nope.
Okay.
Wonderful. Thanks,
Thank
everybody.
you.
Thank you.
Who's next?
Lucky number 5.
Okay, number 5. All right.
You guys are very talented. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone.
Hello.
My name is Fred Smith. I'm with Front Behavioral Health Clinic and sponsor of Maryville Academy. My name is Fred Smith. I am not the Fred that she just referred to, however. So don't ask me those questions. So what I would like to talk about today is the service that we provide at Front Behavioral Health Clinic. We're a community health center that provide behavioral health services. Last year we provided 333 unduplicated services to the community as a whole. However, 41 of those was from Elk Grove Township. We have a full-time psychiatrist on service, a full-time psychologist on service. We have 2 CACDs on services, and we also pride ourselves as being a educational center for the future providers of our communities. We have 10 doctoral students. We have 4 what is considered drawing a blank now, master level services providers. And we also have clients who are, providers who are CACDs interns also that works under my colleague of Jim Eaglin. We also provide testing for psychological services. We provide substance use services. We provide DUI services. We provide anger management services. We provide a multitude of services that just falls under the health of mental health services as a whole. Whether it comes from testing, if it comes from individual services, if it comes to group services, or if it becomes part of family therapy as a whole. We also work with the community when it comes to educating providers and to what the services provided within their communities, which they provide services also into. So at this time, I would like my colleague Jim Eaglin to talk about the substance use service.
All right, thank you, Fred. So basically the nexus of this partnership and why we're different, a little bit different than the other folks that you've heard from so far tonight, is because what we noticed was a big gap happening between people with mental health services and substance abuse services happening at a co-occurring time. So folks would have mental health services and substance abuse services. It kind of depended on which one was primary at the time, but they were unable to follow through with services. So we decided to open a clinic in which we had a psychologist and a substance abuse specialist in the same building, where we're able to now share clients and offer them both different types of outpatient services at the same time. That has proven to be very successful, actually, for many residents of Maine Township and Wheeling Township and Elk Grove Township as well. Also, one thing I wanted to mention is that we also have several languages that we've taken advantage of there as well. We have Polish-speaking substance abuse services, which, believe it or not, is very unusual. It's hard to find those services spoken in Polish. And then, of course, Spanish-speaking. We provide services in Spanish-speaking as well. We have the DUI services that we mentioned also are hard to find in other languages other than English as well, believe it or not. Even Spanish, which you would think is not, shouldn't be hard to find, it is. So we've been able to do that. And then the last thing I want to mention is that we volunteered, our staff has volunteered at a rather large retirement community called Brookdale. I don't think there's any locations within this township, but I know there is one within Wheeling in Maine, I think. What we had there was grief counseling. We had some of the residents there who've had, they're retired and have had their children pass away, which is a unique type of grief. We were able to go through an entire rotation, almost an entire calendar year, with several of the residents at the Brookdale locations, both in Park Ridge and in Des Plaines. Anyway, those services have been well received by the community there. We're hoping to get more folks. We do have some students from the Elk Grove High School here currently, and we've also worked with your agency actually a lot, receiving referrals, especially Spanish-speaking referrals. So we're happy to do that as always. So we'll take your questions if there are any now.
That'd be great.
So in the support you're looking for, I know that your behavioral health clinic has multiple services, but are you looking for specifically support for the coincident mental health / substance abuse program? Is that what we're looking for funding to support?
Well, yes, the funding will be for mental health and substance abuse funding. What the funding is for is the differential between what our actual cost is with having a psychiatrist, a psychologist, and the full-time staff is the difference between what Medicaid pays for Elk Grove Township and what we actually charge. So that's all we're asking for, is to try to close that gap somewhat.
Okay.
Any questions? Thank you very much.
Right, thank you very
All right,
much.
thank
Thank
you.
you.
Well, have a great evening.
You too.
Guess who's next? You're next, yeah.
Character counts, caring place.
I didn't see that. You were at the title. That's what's that on.
Yeah. Get a little brochure.
Thank you.
I'm Marge Hart. I represent the Caring Place in Elk Grove Village. And for those of you that have ever been a caregiver, our motto is that caregivers need help, now I'm getting nervous. Caregivers need caring too. And one of the things that we try to do is to provide the caregiver a time where they can go to the doctor, grocery shopping, do whatever errands they need to do. And when you've got, an adult who can't be left alone, it's very difficult to get through a lot of things that you need to do just in daily living. So what we do is we are open 3 days a week. They bring their loved one to us. We play games, do arts and crafts, have
music going, just, things to keep them occupied, because most of these people would have been sitting home watching TV, falling asleep. These are people that have mild cognitive or physical disabilities. Most of ours have Alzheimer's or dementia, and the people who have used our services are very happy with what they see out of it. Just an example of one person who really enjoyed what was going on. He came to our program, and we always tell them to come and see what it's like and stay for an hour, then go home and talk about it with your loved one and see if they were comfortable and if they want to come back. Well, this guy came and he was in tears. He hadn't slept for about 3 days. He said his wife would walk out of the house middle of the night. He'd have to go looking for her. Police would be out looking for her. And he just needed to go to sleep. And he wanted to know what we did. So he stayed there and watched for an hour. The next day that we were open, he was there right in the morning. He showed me that he had his phone in his pocket. He said, "I'm going home and going to sleep. If she's any problem at all, I will hear it because it's right here in my chest. And you just call me and we'll be over here." And I just felt like this man needed more than just us. He needed, 24/7 care. But obviously he couldn't afford it. And a lot of these people cannot afford it, or they're thinking that in the future, if they need to be put in a home or something, they're going to need that money. So they're looking for something reasonable. And that's what we try to do, is to keep our rates reasonable. We charge $25 a day. And you can't go there for 6 hours a day anyplace else. So this is Pastor Stefan. He's going to talk more about...
I'll just make a few comments. We started in 2008, this program. And the vision was really to help people who are in this between time before they have to go into a home. Can they stay home with their loved ones? And I cannot tell you the many people we served over these years, what a difference it made when they came to this program, the before and after, because they made friends. We share devotion with them. We help them in any kind of way they need help. And the difference we can see is that they open up, they become more social. They find more joy in life. So this grant we are asking for would help us in an amazing way to add another staff person to our program, because we have a lot of people asking us, what about toiletry? Can we have our loved one needs some help to go to the bathroom, and we are not able to provide that. So this grant would really help us now to hire someone who would be able to assist that need. I cannot say enough how thank March and the whole team, what they provide for the whole community, and people coming from far. We have people coming from, what is the, Palatine, Addison, because there is no program in this whole area that is so reasonable and has such a great quality. So we are very proud to have that, and if we get support, we can do even more and serve the community. So I thank you already.
So at this point, you're unable to accept patients or individuals that cannot go to the washroom by themselves?
We have to turn them away because we can't handle the situation.
More and more people are asking for that. That's what we're finding out.
Okay.
We just feel like if we could handle that situation, we could have twice as many people.
How many people do you average on a day that come?
Recently, it's been 5 to 7.
Okay.
At one point, I mean, it varies because these people leave to go to a nursing home or, whatever. But at one point, we had 15.
Yeah.
Okay.
So presently, I would say half of them probably are from Elk Grove Township, but they do come from further away because of the price. They check out other places, and
I do know.
That's great. Do you have any other questions?
Any other questions? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
All right.
People can leave if they want to.
What's that?
You can go.
Yeah, folks, you're welcome to stay if you'd like.
Go.
I don't know if any decisions will be made tonight. Final budget isn't passed until next month anyway. There might be preliminary decisions, but I can't guarantee that. So, but you're welcome to stay if you'd like. So, yeah, thank you. Moving into item G on the agenda, reports. Connie is not here. We have a written report from the assessor. All right, clerk's report.
Yeah, in the clerk's report, I just want to mention that we've had a little heavier period here with FOIAs. We had a rather significant FOIA request from Jake Griffin of the Daily Herald. We got everything to him on time except for one portion of the package, which we ended up delivering directly to him. There's been no issue on that. Another one that we've had is George Nierbach, which appears to be focused on Trustee Kashava. We provided the documentation requested. We don't know who this gentleman is, so I mean, at this particular stage, it's rather a strange situation, and we'll leave it at that for right now. And then we also had another request that we did not need to respond to. It did not really relate to us, and that's been closed. I will point out, though, that I did talk to Jason, our attorney, Jason Tremblay. He indicated that our obligation on FOIA requests is on any documentation, official documentation that we have, and that if we get a request for something we have officially documented, we need to provide that within the time frame that is stated. However, if there are requests for information above and beyond that, it can be provided, but it is not required. The way I'm going to proceed is that if it's a documentation, I will provide that. If it's not documentation that we officially have, then I will check with the elected official, and if they want to allow us to provide that information, we will. If they don't, we're not going to.
Okay.
Very good. Any questions for George?
One other thing for you, too, is we do have the, I don't know if you saw the Topics Day in Springfield is Wednesday, April 25th. And that's the trustees that go down and meet with the legislators, and that's coordinated by the township officials of Illinois Toy. So there's more information. Paul's got more information on that.
That was all sent out, I believe, by Mary Ann to everybody, given a deadline as far as when that needed to come back.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this George Nierbach, you don't have like contact info for him,
No,
phone
we just
number,
have his email address. That's all we have. And we don't have to. I mean, he doesn't have to.
Okay.
The individual doesn't have to prove that they're an entity. If the request comes in, we've got to respond to it no matter who it is or
So
what
you
it
can
is.
attach it to emails?
We email it back to them.
Okay. Any other questions for George? Okay. Highway Commissioners report. Art?
We've had no snow all year, but when we do get the snow, we have everything breaking. I think it's the first time I ever seen this. We have 3 trucks, 3 were broken. And we had to get our own stuff. I had my own truck out there, and Trustee Nordowski was helping us too. We had to hire a independent contractor for doing the salting because it was a big safety issue. Thing is, I haven't bought a new semi in a while, but it's unbelievable with the pricing on some of this stuff and the availability. So new trucks we were looking around as an emergency situation, and we're talking anywhere from about $150,000 to $200,000 for one truck. So in the meantime, we've been band-aiding what we have to get through the winter, hopefully without any more problems.
Well, thank you for all the hours you both put in to do that. I'm sure it must have been very frustrating.
Any questions for Art?
Excuse me, I can barely hear Sue Ellen, and I could barely hear Art. and I don't know if Dale was talking, but I can't hear that side of the room.
Okay, I moved
you
my
could
mic closer.
Well, the mic, that's not gonna help, that's not gonna amplify your
Okay.
voice, you're just gonna have to raise your voice.
Speak up,
Yep,
okay.
speak up, yep.
Yeah, I could hear the people at the podium, but I'm having difficulty. I've had some difficulty hearing George, but then that got better, but I couldn't hear the other side of
Never
the
heard
room.
anybody say that before.
I'm very soft
So if
spoken.
everyone can amplify their voice, that would be great.
Are you gonna put in the new budget for a new truck?
We're hoping to.
Good. Sounds like we need it.
Well, something, when you need it, you need it. It's like having a fire truck.
Yeah.
I mean, you can park it in the garage for 5 years, but the one time you need it, it pays for itself.
Right.
So as far as the streets and the plowing and the salting, it's a big safety issue.
Definitely.
What's going to happen with the copious amount of rain that we've had when the temperature drops as it's supposed to?
Oh, I
They're
talked
salting
to my head foreman in charge of the highway department, and he's thinking about going on about 10 or 11 o'clock tonight, so,
Going to be able to do that?
yeah.
Good.
We're back in business, so the thing is, even the new truck, that's the one that they burned down, the one they replaced it. It's about 4 or 5 years old. It's a good truck and all, but it's a little too small for streets and everything.
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions for Art? Okay, just in the interest of time, just have the standard reports. The only other thing I'll comment on is the fact that we're just still waiting from Elk Grove Village to, I think, so they're still addressing some title issues for the Landmeyer property. So we're just waiting on some updates from them, so. Okay, no correspondence. Under old business, the first item is RFP results for videotaping of township board meetings. We received 3 different proposals. One was from Rocket Productions Incorporated for $3,800 per meeting. Rent.com Incorporated for $2,670 per meeting. And Laurel Communications Incorporated for $1,500 per meeting. So with that, I will open it up to any discussion.
You did not receive anything from Channel 6 in Elk Grove Village because legally they cannot answer an RFP because they're not a private business. So I don't know if you're aware of that or not.
They did not communicate anything to me or to George or to Paul.
Right, I talked to the mayor, Craig Johnson, last night about it, and they're still very interested in doing it, but legally they cannot answer an RFP. And the same bid that they gave us before stands.
They
I'm
need
not
to,
sure if
They
it's-
need to, Sue Ellen, they do need to be going through the clerk or the supervisors. They shouldn't be going around, I mean,
They didn't.
I
I
don't
called
even know
him
anything
because I
about
had a
it, yeah.
question about the RFP, because someone told me they couldn't do it, and I wanted to double check
They
that.
needed to reach out to us is what they need to do. They didn't reach
Okay.
out, they didn't do anything, and we can't, I mean, they can't be doing it through just different people on the board.
Yeah, I mean,
just
I-
can't be doing that.
No, I wasn't aware, I did not receive any documentation, any kind of email or,
Have we received anything in writing from them on what it would cost us?
Yes, we had a bid,
Not with the RFP, but
right,
prior.
because legally they
Prior to
cannot
that.
do
all right,
that.
okay. Last time they sent us something in writing, it was $1,162. The question that I had was, that has never been sufficiently shown or addressed, is the insurance issue.
Which I talked to the mayor about last night.
And I've talked to him as well about it. And he's, explained that they have an agreement and about coverage, but there's nothing that shows that the independent contractors, at least they haven't provided any proof that the independent contractors carry insurance, and that's my concern. So now, they show the waiver of liability, but they can't waive somebody else's liability if they get hurt at a meeting or something like that. So that's the reason I thought them carrying insurance was important. And that's why we put it into the RFP to ensure that, I mean, even if they couldn't respond to an RFP, I can imagine maybe they can have the contractors show us their certificate of insurance, at least we could deal with it then. But I don't feel comfortable not knowing whether or not and what levels of insurance these independent contractors have.
I would agree on two levels. One, they need to be able to tell us that that 1,100, whatever that dollar price is, meets, they can do what everyone else had to bid for. And then number two, the insurance is, they have to be able to verify that the liability does not wash over on us, and they have not done that.
Okay, I'm sure they could. They do things for Elk Grove High School, Conant High School, Park District. They're award-winning.
Right.
Like he said last night, there's no way we would not have the kind of insurance we need. We would not want that liability for ourselves.
No, he said that, but his people that run that have not been able to tell us that.
Well, I would like to make a motion that we have Channel 6 do our videotaping at a...
I cannot hear you at all, hardly.
Okay, I'll speak up, sorry. I'd like to make a motion, we have Channel 6 in Elk Grove do our videotaping monthly at a rate no more than $1,162 a month, pursuant on them showing us all the needed insurance. I think the rate will be $1,000, but from what I talked to him, the last quote was...
Hold on, let her finish her motion, just one at a time. We have discussion, doesn't have to be seconded, we can vote on it, it can be voted up or down. So, go ahead, no more than 1162.
Go ahead, Bob.
No, if they...
Oh, go ahead, I'm
no,
sorry, I shouldn't have interrupted you, I apologize.
No more than 1162, provided they show us the proper documentation that the cameramen have insurance,
That they have the insurance they need.
that the cameramen have the insurance. Is that, I mean, who? That's what I'm trying, just, does the village has insurance, or the employees have insurance, or that the independent contractors have insurance, or all?
We required, in the RFP, we required that the
Right.
vendors had insurance
Yes,
on
and
their-
also in either the January or the December meeting, Mike also said we don't have to go by the RFP.
No, we don't, but I mean, I don't,
I mean, if they have 2 cameras instead of 3, I have no problem with that.
no,
So I think somebody needs to meet with them and go through all this.
They received the RFP. Ray Rummel's response when he received it, the village manager, was thank you. Nothing else was communicated to us. If they couldn't respond, all these backdoor conversations, I don't understand them.
I don't either, because I really,
Look, we've talked, we went out of our way. We got numbers for them. I asked a reasonable question about insurance to them. They could provide no documentation about insurance. I'm not asking unreasonable things. For their independent contractors to have insurance so that we know that any kind of incident is covered, I think is reasonable. If they cannot respond to an RFP, I think they should have at least reached out and said, we can't do this. What are your concerns? And we would have said, I could have told them that my concern was the insurance. They could have gone to the independent contractors who I understand as part of their agreement with their village, they're required to carry some type of liability coverage. They could have provided a certificate of insurance just to say these are copies of the certificates of insurance from our independent contractors. Then at least we would have something in hand to go with the number that they said to say, okay, they're covered. They did not do anything like that. So to go through this process of an RFP where nothing was communicated officially to the board that they could not respond, but here's the issues with insurance, to go with that vendor anyway, being Channel 6, I think is unprofessional, and it is irresponsible to not have the proof of insurance coverage so that we're making the township, we're opening up liability for us.
maybe.
No, if something were, well, maybe if they could have provided, they didn't communicate anything to us. And if the issue is being on Channel 6, okay, it is, the village has made it clear to us that whether they record meetings or not, whether they're the vendor, they will air the meetings on Channel 6.
I know, but we're saving over $400 a year. That's almost $5,000 a year.
This idea
They have
that
they do a quality job.
no one's disputing the quality. There's this idea that there's a savings. To come out and record meetings, to have 4 people out, okay, 4 people in 2 people in a truck, 2 people working cameras, to come out, there's a cost. We tax a lot of the same people, the village and the township. Okay, if we're saving money, cost is being shifted elsewhere. It's not, these aren't pennies from heaven. There is a cost being incurred. So if we're not paying the full freight, the village taxpayers are. This idea.
It's not a profit
This idea, I don't have a problem with economic producers in the community that may have to make a profit and provide jobs and different things. I don't have a problem with private companies earning a profit. I just don't have a problem with that. So you can see by the other proposals that we're not getting, we're not getting hosed on price. We're not, we make it sound like the 1162 the village came up with. Still not sure how that number came to be. They're talking about upping it to around $1,200, maybe a little bit more in April. We're talking about $300 difference, and they never proved to us that their cameramen have proper insurance. So we're talking $300 difference for a potential huge liability if something were to happen. I think those that took the time to send in a proposal and communicate with us should be considered. The fact that the village didn't communicate anything to us, I think, should be taken into consideration. And to go through this process when we're not going to seriously consider the RFP process, I mean, I just think it baffles me. I think if we're going to put out an RFP and ask people to put in work to submit it, we should seriously consider the people that put in the work to submit proposals, not go with somebody that didn't communicate anything to us, that they couldn't submit a proposal and can't show that they have the proper insurance. That's all I wanted, and I don't think that's asking too much.
I think the one thing that I'd be concerned about is we did go with an RFP. We did ask these different people to bid based on these requirements, and we also asked for the insurance. If Elk Grove Township could come back to us and say, we can meet what the RFP, what everyone else is saying they're charging, and we can provide the insurance, and they can still come in at a lower level, even if they can't do an official bid, you're at least going to get an
Is there anything that prevents them from putting that in writing?
I guess they can't.
Well, I don't know if that's the, I don't know if the, I don't know.
Why can't they just send us a letter?
They put a bid in writing a couple months ago.
They did, but it didn't meet the standards of this particular RFP. And we do have an RFP out there, and we have people that have tried to meet those requirements. And all I'm saying is, don't submit an RFP, but give us a letter of intent. These are the things that we will provide at this price. And let that letter of intent at least meet what the RFP was.
Is there a second?
So there's a motion on the floor. Is there a second?
A second.
All right, there's been a second. Any further discussion? All I would say is seriously consider the message that you're sending, that we are going to go through a process, completely disregard the process, disregard the people that put in the work to possibly authorize business to an entity that didn't even communicate properly to us. I think that sends a terrible message, but.
Yeah, I wish they would have at least reached out
Any further
to
discussion?
the clerk and so forth.
I'm wondering if her motion included pursuant to insurance. I believe that was part of the motion.
Right, it was.
It did, but they still didn't communicate anything with us ahead of time.
Yeah.
But we're going out of our way for an entity that didn't even bother to communicate any of this information to us. I don't know why there was talk about, ending this sooner than later, and now we're going to drag it out to go back to them and say, well, we're chasing them down to show us documents. Please show us documents so we can hire you. That's the message we're sending. Please help us hire you, as opposed to setting a deadline and asking people to submit documents, and 3 companies did. And now we're telling them, thanks for following our guidelines, but, we don't want to work with you. Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
So I want to make sure, this is a motion to provide how long? A 1 year, 2 year, 3 year? What are we talking about?
We're not following the proposal, so I guess it doesn't matter.
So could you do the motion again so I fully understand?
Yeah, I make a motion to have Channel 6 from Elk Grove Village do our videotaping. What was our timeline on here? 2-year service at a rate no more than $1,162 a month, pursuant to having the insurance that we need.
They're going to increase it in April, and we
Right,
don't know
but
by how
I think it's
much.
going to be $1,000, and they thought they'd increase about $30, $40, so it would still be under that $1,160.
Well, it's 1160, well, no, it's not 1,000. They quoted us $1,162. That's what they quoted us. They didn't quote us $1,000.
Okay,
They
I will
quoted us
change my motion to
$1,162.
not more than 1,250. That should cover the increase.
250,
Thank you.
okay. 2 years of service and contingent on proof of independent contractor insurance, is that?
I have no idea. Is it for the village has to provide insurance, that the employees, the independent contractors? I have no idea what the motion is about.
What type of insurance deal are we doing?
Just put needed insurance, and then we'll look at the RFP and we'll talk to them, and if they'll give us what we need, and if they can't, then we won't use them.
Okay, I'll put a proof of required insurance.
Perfect, thank you.
Is there a deadline on this submission?
If they don't provide the insurance
By
information,
such and such a time, within a time frame,
I don't know.
would you include that in your?
Sure, why
motion?
don't we say by April 30th, and then we can approve the people who are doing it now for 2 months, so we're set.
Okay. All right, I got it. All right, so motion was made by trustee Saturn and seconded by trustee Narodowski.
And this is being drawn out so that you can vote on it at the end of April, I'm guessing.
Oh, no, I thought we were voting tonight. I just
No, I
did
mean,
that
so that we have time, so the deadline
No, you can
pushes
change it
past.
to March. I didn't even think of that, seriously. You can change it to March, I'm fine. I thought we were voting on it tonight. I just meant they had
We
that
don't
much
have, but we're not
time.
voting on anything. We're voting on, now we have to chase them down for documentation.
Yeah, and when they have to provide it by April 30th.
Okay.
Why don't you change it to March 30th, okay? That would be good. Thank you.
Your motion.
Right, yeah. March 30th is good.
Okay.
Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Trustee Saturn.
Aye.
Trustee Narodowski.
Aye.
Trustee Ingraffia.
No.
Okay, Supervisor Sweeney.
Kashaba.
I'm sorry, I have to go back to her. Go ahead, you.
No.
And trustee Kashaba.
Aye.
Okay. All right.
All right.
Can I ask one question about the general process?
Pardon?
I just wonder why we didn't do a RFP when we started videotaping.
Because we didn't, at that particular time, I don't think we thought of the fact that it would possibly be over 20,000 a year. And also because at that particular point, we just hadn't thought through what we really needed.
Okay.
And then also the issue arose that a government agency was coming in with an extraordinarily low number, and that we had not given an opportunity to private organizations to bid as well too, because they could have come in lower, and we have an obligation to the private sector, our constituents who have businesses, to be able to bid on this.
Okay.
So we probably should have done an RFP right up front,
It wouldn't have mattered.
But it might not have mattered if this is what, the way we went, it didn't matter anyway, so. Okay, I got it.
Okay, Erica, budget updates, revisions for fiscal year 2018-19.
Do we need to make a motion to continue them for,
Oh, yeah.
We can do
we
whatever.
need to have, I think we have a motion because they're not gonna be,
Well, it's not, I mean, I thought last month we did it. I mean, with this.
We did it
It's
been month to
not on the,
month, yeah.
we did it for 1 month.
I make a
last-
motion to continue having Laurel videotape for March.
Since the RFP, or I'm sorry, since this request goes into, oh, March, no, you're right. I'm
March,
sorry,
it's
you're right,
needed
you're
for
correct,
March.
You're correct, you changed it, you're correct.
Second,
I'll second it.
well, we're,
take a, is it a
roll call,
voice vote
please.
or a roll?
roll call.
Roll call, Trustee Saturn,
Aye.
Trustee Narodowski.
Aye.
Trustee Ingraffia.
Aye.
Trustee Kashaba,
Aye.
and Supervisor Sweeney.
Aye. All right, you're up, Erica.
Okay, excuse me. I did email you guys the budget changes that we made since last meeting that we discussed. So now I'm just gonna go over the categories. If you guys have any questions, let me know and I'll do my best to answer them. Excuse me.
Which budget are we starting with?
I'm sorry, we're gonna start with town fund.
Okay,
Our proposed budget for revenue for town fund is $2,409,911. On to expenses. Our proposed budget for our administration expenses is $31,000.
any questions? We'll just go section by section for any questions.
Yeah, I'll give a pause. If you guys have any questions, let me know. For contractual services, we've budgeted $438,220. For commodities and miscellaneous expenses, we've budgeted $29,500. For capital outlay, we've budgeted $1,142,500. For personnel expenses, we have budgeted $729,247. Okay. For the assessors, Connie's proposed budget was $230,000. And for the social services, we've kept all the numbers at zero because you guys haven't decided yet on what amounts you're going to be giving each agency. But we did up the daycare voucher program to $230,000.
So how do we want to handle this particular
Yeah.
section? So before we move on, this will probably take, probably more time than just reviewing the other sections potentially. So do we want to dig into this now and then we can get through the rest of the budgets? Or do we want to come back to this particular section?
Does it show where what they requested on this sheet?
No.
Okay.
That was,
That
you
sheet-
sent that out, right?
From last time, yeah, I don't have it with me, though.
Are we waiting on questions about the voucher program?
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
I'll just start the conversation, and then if we want to move on or we want to dig into this, and folks can take it from there. I would recommend at least, I think the new agencies asked for a total of $92,500. It's a lot of money in addition to what we're already providing to other agencies. It's not necessarily a bad thing. I think it could be a good time, maybe for next budget cycle, to start reevaluating the agencies that we give money to potentially, maybe resetting our priorities of what, where we designate a majority of funds, whether it be to mental illness or services for the mentally and physically disabled, whatever that might be. Those are just I'm just throwing those things out there. So, I think now in addition, not that it's directly connected, but indirectly, us being in flux of getting into a new building, it's a lot to consider right now while we're going through a lot of consolidation, because $92,000, yes, do we have the money to cover it? Yes, but now you have to think in what we do in perpetuity. Do we continue to provide those funds year after year? Are we prepared to cut them off after a period of time? Are we prepared to take funds away from other agencies? So my gut tells me, just knowing what the big hurdles we have this year and knowing that we kept the levy flat, is to those that we funded last year provide the same dollar amount. Communicate to the new agencies that, our position potentially that maybe we can't give them funds this year, but encourage them to reapply next year. Give us time to look over the agencies we fund so that we're not just counting them out right off the bat, and then consider maybe that 92.5 or more going into the levy process. And like I said, there's a lot to consider over the next year. But that's my 2 cents. So, but I think, well, with that, I'll open it up for discussion. So,
What did you say the daycare amount's going to be for the next year?
It's proposed 230,000.
now that was the 190 we provided for service, and then we added in the 40,000 that we paid for utilities.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, I actually think that would be a good idea if we could, maybe the new agencies say come back next year. I think there was, some good things there, but with moving and renovating and everything this year.
Well, and I can barely hear you.
Okay, I just said, I think maybe it would be good with the new agencies to have them come back next year, because we are moving and consolidating and renovating and working with this new daycare voucher program, that maybe wait on adding people or changing people till next year.
Any additional discussion?
Perhaps all the agencies should come back next year so that they can all be reevaluated, the older ones too.
Do you want to,
No, not this year. I'm saying, next year.
right, so then for the next year, we would give them
And
this,
again, like we used to do. We used to look at virtually all of them every year.
and then this year, we would just keep them the same for next year, the amounts.
I just would raise 2 things. One, you did have all these people come in, and you did have them present. If we were going to do this, then we shouldn't have had them even come in and present. So
I don't think, well, I don't think that's fair, George.
I think they warrant sort of a review and to see if there is a value to them.
I agree with you, George.
And I think the second thing is, I do agree that during this next year, we probably need to review the strategy that we have in terms of funding agencies and then the process for doing it. And maybe Andrew is right, maybe at least a good chunk of them we need to given that if we develop a new strategy and develop a new process or adjust it to some degree, then at that point, Then we need to go through the full list of agencies and make it, start afresh, create a new benchmark. So that's just those are the two things that I would kind of think. I don't know when you would meet to go through the agencies, the new ones and the old ones, or I don't know. I don't know when you do that, but obviously, we've done that in the past, so.
What would the board like to do here?
Do we have time to have a meeting to go through the agencies before the budget?
No, I mean, well, you can set placeholders. Typically, you don't change the final budget more, like that particular segment of the budget, more than 10%. I mean, you can have placeholders. For example, if you were to take everything that the agencies got last year, plug that in, and potentially take half of the request as a placeholder of the new agencies, then you can move that up or down, and you'd have room in that 10% of that, just 800,000.
And the new agencies.
It would be discussed, then you could finalize it in March.
And, I mean, if they ask for 20 or 30,000, we don't have to give them that amount, but we can give them something.
No, I mean, we can always give anybody something. I mean, we don't have to give them exactly what they requested. I mean, I think one of the things we need to consider going into next year is, are we giving them money that has an impact, or are we giving them money just to give them money? And I said I think there's probably some agencies that the money we give them doesn't really have an impact. I mean, 1,500, 2,000, whatever. Some of these smaller ones. I think they're tokens of support that, I think we need to reevaluate. What impact are the tax dollars having? So, yeah, I mean, I think I'd go the other way. I'd say if we're going to give. If it's going to be 30,000, let's make sure 30,000 has an impact. I'd be more supportive of eliminating the smaller ones. If it doesn't meet whatever criteria we would set, because I don't see $1,500 having an impact on wings. Doesn't say anything about the organization, but, I mean, let's not kid ourselves here. And I think I think we're due for a difficult conversation, and maybe the big request this year kind of reset that clock moving forward to have some difficult conversations, reset priorities, and have difficult conversations with agencies about us just not being able to fund them anymore, and we shift priorities to whatever. Like I said, if it's mental health, if it's domestic abuse, if it's homelessness, whatever. I don't know what it would be, but if we want to have an impact, we should spend money to have an impact.
It was interesting at that MTA meeting, they had a chart of what different townships and the grants they gave and who they gave to and how much. It was very interesting to see how the other townships did it, yeah.
So if you want more time to think, for the March meeting, that would give us wiggle room to change that particular segment of the budget, I could say recommend the previous grants, keep them the same for now, and then just plug in half of the new agency's request. That way, that gives us room to move up and down.
Sounds good to me.
So half of that,
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
How does everybody else feel about that?
Sounds okay.
All right. Okay, that's what we'll do. So all the agencies that were funded last year, just move over the same dollar amount, and then the new 6, as a placeholder, just plug in half the amount requested. And they're all placeholders, really. I mean, but go ahead, Trustee Kashava.
I said I think that sounds good.
Okay.
I think it's half of what they requested is $46,250.
okay. Thank
But
you.
yeah, you can check.
So I'll add that to what we had initially proposed.
Yep.
Okay?
And then, and we're still waiting to hear back from our cow meeting about, obviously, we can push back on it too, and I recommend that we do. But wait to see if the board, the daycare center board would be amenable to giving us, since we pay in bulk, we would pay a huge invoice monthly about giving us a discount, which I think would be appropriate. So, but we can cross that bridge when we hear back from their board. Anyway, okay, if we're settled on that, then we can discuss that further in March and settle on that. And then, so moving on to bike safety.
Okay. For bike safety, we have a proposed budget of $54,000. For our senior bus department, we have a proposed budget of $68,000.
I just have to say, since I've been home with my knee replacement recovery, everywhere I go, I see our senior buses. It's amazing. When you're not at work all day, it's like they're everywhere, so that's exciting.
Okay, for youth services, we have a proposed budget of $373,450. And that would bring our total expenses to $3,895,417.
And just to,
Revisions you just did.
Oh, yeah, you're right, thank you.
what's that?
Plus the
Plus the
46,000.
46,250. Just to put a fine point on the increase in the total expenses from last year is the $1.1 million that we're putting in there for the capital improvements for Landmeyer. So that was why the sizable increase is there. All right.
1.1.
It's the 1.1, right, is in the capital improvements for Landmeyer, right?
Okay, moving on to road district.
All right, yeah, well, we can do this. So with those revisions, can I have a motion to approve the final tentative? Well, like I said, we approved the final budget in March, but the final tentative for town fund? Motion by trustee Ingraffia, is there a second?
I'll second it.
Seconded by trustee Nuredowski. Any further discussion? Okay, roll call, please.
Trustee Kashaba,
Aye.
trustee Saturn,
Aye.
trustee Nuredowski,
Aye.
trustee Ingraffia,
Aye.
supervisor Sweeney.
Aye. Okay, next one.
Okay, road and bridge. We have a proposed budget in revenues of $364,000. In expenses, sorry, this one doesn't have a category. I'm seeing. This would be our administration expenses. A proposed budget of $90,200. For personnel, we have a budget of $71,700. For road maintenance, $328,000. And in our equipment section, we added $60,000 initially, but after Art, if you wanna,
Well, I would like to know if we can raise that up to around 150,000 since we're looking for this piece of equipment. We really get something that's reliable, but also if we have to shut something down as far as resale value, we'd be able to get a lot more back. Sale of this equipment.
So 150,000 more or total?
Total.
total.
Okay.
Okay, so $65,000 increase on top of that 85,000.
That's due to unexpected problems with the 3 trucks.
Yeah, the thing is, it's like they say, the bigger the equipment, the bigger the expenses. So we get it, the rear end went out, that was like $6,000 on the one truck. This time, the power steering went out in the bigger truck, it was like $3,000. The bigger truck's 1980, so the parts are starting to get scarce.
Yeah.
You can't go and get them today somewhere, you have to wait a week or something.
And you'd essentially be going from 3 trucks to 2.
Yeah, we could sell off the older International, the big one in Pasa, and also the pickup truck. I'm not even sure how many miles on that pickup truck. That's what's starting to have a lot of problems too, because the four-wheel drive stopped working during the last snow too, so he has a hard time even doing the parking lot with that,
Wow.
sliding all over.
Not good.
Okay?
We had 2 trucks with the Ford that was purchased about 4 or 5 years ago. We would have a lot of, new equipment that would be reliable, somebody just get in there and do something.
Okay.
Good.
All right.
All right. Do you want to make a motion on the road and bridge?
Yeah, so can I have a motion to approve the final tentative road district budget with the equipment line item increase to $150,000?
So moved.
Moved by trustee Saturn. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Seconded by trustee Nuredowski. Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Trustee Kashaba,
Aye.
trustee Saturn,
Aye.
trustee Nuredowski,
Aye.
trustee Graffia,
Aye.
and supervisor Sweeney.
Aye. Thank you. All right, which one's next?
Well, sewer, we'll just get that out of the way. There were no
Okay.
changes from last meeting.
Okay,
If anyone has any questions from before?
any questions on the sewer fund?
Nope.
Have a motion to approve the final tentative sewer fund budget?
Second, I make a motion, sorry.
Moved by trustee Saturn, is there a second?
second it.
Seconded by trustee Ingraffia. Any further discussion? Roll call,
Trustee
please.
Kashaba,
Aye.
trustee Saturn,
Aye.
trustee Nuredowski,
Aye.
trustee Graffia,
Aye.
supervisor Sweeney.
Aye.
Okay. Lastly is the general assistance budget. We have proposed revenues of $456,714. In expenses for administration, we have $39,450. For personnel, we have $266,500. Home relief, we have a proposed budget of $267,000. For our programming section, we added the employment center in there, a $10,000 line item, because we split that between town fund. So that is now at a total of $12,000, or $12,600. And leaving the total expenses at $585,550.
The staff salaries going from 168,000 to 185,000, that's about a 10% increase.
That's year-to-date.
It's actually being reduced because
It's
Oh, I'm sorry,
168,
year-to-date actual.
Okay, sorry, okay.
So it's, yeah, it actually,
reducing it by 20,000.
Yeah, the current year's budget is being reduced.
Because
is
we're
being
moving,
proposed.
okay. And then legal services, 6,750 for,
that's the actual amount we've spent this year.
okay.
We're proposing $3,000 for next year.
How come it was higher For general assistance, legal?
Well, it was legal and professional services. This year, we broke it up into 2 line items, and I can't remember what
So
was the
the job
increase yet.
employment center, we
Right.
had coming out of that line item when we
Okay.
first moved it.
Right.
Got it.
And that is all.
All right. Can I have a motion to approve the final tentative general assistance budget?
So moved.
Moved by trustee Saturn,
Second it.
seconded by trustee Nuredowski. Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Trustee Kashava.
Aye.
Trustee Saturn.
Aye.
Trustee Nuredowski.
Aye.
Trustee Graffia.
Aye.
Supervisor Sweeney.
Aye. All right, before we go on, not to beat a dead horse, but this is going to bug me if I don't get some clarity here. You know, we have to, obviously, going back to the RFP for video, I just, been a lot of conversations going back and forth with different people. If George is going to go back to Channel 6 or Craig or Ray Rummel or whoever the case is, I think we need to be clear about the insurance, what insurance they need to have, and who has to have it. I don't feel, because I can see it being, coming back in 2 months or whenever it is, and saying, George said, well, you need to have this insurance, and they don't come back with it, but then we have another conversation in a month, says, well, yeah, but they have this insurance, and so we keep
I was under the
moving.
impression that we were going to get this in writing.
No, but we said required insurance, or what, I don't know the language of the motion, required insurance. I want to make sure, so once and for all, we can go to the village and say, the village, the employees, and the independent contractors have to be covered with X. Because if they're covered with, you know, a $25,000 liability policy, I just want George to be able to go and say, no, this is what you need.
The way I'm
And
going
if you
to
don't have it-
define required, unless I'm told otherwise, is what we put on the RFP.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, I mean, I don't know.
Well, that's what I'm going to say. This is what they have to be able to say that they can provide.
It was my understanding that they would have to provide something similar, or something that would meet the standard of the RFP. They don't have to apply for the RFP, but they have to meet the standard of the RFP.
We have, though, while the insurance, we're requiring them to have them, we are not requiring them, just so we know, they do not have to meet the RFP requirements for equipment or for services. That's what we're doing.
I think if you can meet with them face-to-face and go through this, it will go well.
It's not the meetings. We've had meetings face-to-face. It's not, I want to be
I can do it.
clear.
I can do it.
I
I
want to
can
be
meet with
clear about what we're asking them to provide proof of. Because if they provide proof of $500,000 coverage, let's say, and then we say, well, no, the RFP said 2 million, I don't want to be here in 2 months saying, well, 500's okay. So now we just have more confusing conversations because we're not sticking to the, we're already not sticking to the standards we set. And I want to make sure the standards are clear and that we're not going to waver.
You're talking about the insurance part of it.
Well, I think, like I said, I think, but my point is clear. I mean, I don't think we should even be considering Elk Grove Village. But if we're going to request that they provide us information, it should be to the RFP. Even if they can't provide an official RFP, they should be able to say, and this is boilerplate, I think they can do everything here. What I don't think they can provide is proof of the insurance for their independent contractors. And I want to make sure that we're not going to waver and put the township at risk by asking them or allowing them to get by with less insurance than we required from other contractors.
What we have done right now, this is the motion that passed, is that we are going to have them provide the services for 2 years, at a rate of not more than $1,250 contingent upon the proof of required insurance, of which I'm going to assume is the RFP insurance. We have put aside the rest of the RFP. That's what the motion did. That's what exists.
So I just want everybody on the record, we're going to hold them to the standards of the insurance and the RFP.
We're doing.
Sue Ellen, is that? See? This
You
is,
gotta do it. You gotta tell me here.
I mean, this is,
No, I
it's
know,
not,
I
it's
know.
not
It
right
just-
for
this
him to
is-
go have a conversation where it's not clear.
Okay, fine.
Because they already don't have to live up to the other requirements, but the insurance, you don't wanna, we don't wanna, these insurance requirements are what we went through with other municipalities, other townships. This is what we found to be essential for us to protect our liability. So, I mean, personally, I'd feel irresponsible if we didn't protect ourselves. I mean, we're already letting the other stuff go, but I would not let that. So that's what I'm planning to do, is to use
Okay.
the RFP.
I'm sure Elk Grove wants to protect themselves too.
But are you committed to the standards in the RFP?
Yes, could we move on?
Well,
Okay, let's go.
okay. New business, 2018 annual town meeting agenda. Any changes, additions, questions about that?
No.
Okay, can I have a motion to approve the 2018 annual town meeting agenda?
So moved.
Moved by trustee Saturn,
Second it.
seconded by trustee Nuredowski. Any further discussion? All right, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. I know you just got this today. We're going back and forth with Annette just to make sure we clarified everything. But basically from our cow meeting on the 10th, obviously keeping it simple, just to make sure we had basic information of the family information, whether or not they're a resident and their address, so we can verify that, children's names, the name of the child care center, the CCAP case number, so that we can tie that back to the state assistance they received, and then the parent certification that they're responsible to report any change in employment, family size. Failure to report changes in a timely manner may result in the loss of a voucher. Like Annette had said, letting them know that if they change, they have to be there for the full month, or if they change, the voucher won't move with them until the first of the next month, and that they agree to attend required trainings and workshops throughout the year that we'll develop. So,
So Annette made this and you reviewed it and you're
Yeah, there was-
comfortable with everything?
yeah, there were some changes I made. There was some changes like I said, I agree to attend trainings and workshops. I had the word required inserted there. I think, yeah, we just, other than that, it was just a formatting thing that we moved it onto 2 pages to space some things out. But that was the one big change that I had. Other than that, Annette put this together. And I reviewed it, and I'm comfortable with it. So, is everybody else comfortable with it? I know you hadn't had time to, you may have not had time to review it, I don't know.
I think it looks good.
And like I said, I mean, this is gonna be, like I said, we'll be able to tweak things as we go, but I think this is a good step in the right direction to start getting families accustomed to applying with us. Okay, well, can I have a motion to approve the daycare, the childhood voucher application?
So moved.
Moved by trustee Ingraffia,
Second it.
seconded by trustee Nuredowski. Is there any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Trustee Kashaba,
Aye.
trustee Saturn,
Aye.
trustee Nuredowski,
Aye.
trustee Ingraffia.
Aye.
Supervisor Sweeney.
Aye. Okay, can I have a motion to move into executive session to discuss employee compensation?
So moved.
Moved by trustee Saturn,
Second it.
seconded by trustee Nuredowski. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Trustee Kashaba,
Aye.
trustee Saturn,
Aye.
trustee Nuredowski,
Aye.
trustee Ingraffia.
Aye.
Supervisor Sweeney.
Aye. Okay, we'll be back. It's 8:50.
Okay.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and call the Board of Trustees meeting back to order. It's 9:20, and ask the clerk to call the roll.
Trustee Kashaba, trustee, no,
She wasn't feeling well.
trustee Saturn,
Aye.
trustee Nuredowski,
Aye.
trustee Ingraffia, supervisor Sweeney.
Aye. Okay, can I have a motion to approve merit increase for town fund employees outside of the assessor's office, a baseline of 2% with a potential increase of an additional 2% based on merit, and any merit increase above 4% must be approved by the Board of Trustees.
And that would only be up to 5%. So,
It could be whatever you want.
Whatever you want to do.
Whatever you wanted over
You
4%.
can make it
So moved.
100% if you want.
Moved by trustee Saturn,
Second it.
seconded by trustee Nuredowski. Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Trustee Saturn,
aye.
trustee Nuredowski,
Aye.
trustee Ingraffia,
Aye.
supervisor Sweeney,
Aye.
trustee Kashaba.
Okay. All right, can I have a motion to increase the administrator Paul Piak's salary to $5,000 to $105,000?
So moved.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Seconded, moved by trustee Ingraffia, seconded by trustee Saturn. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Trustee Kashaba, trustee Saturn,
Aye.
trustee Nuredowski,
Aye.
trustee Ingraffia,
Aye.
trustee, supervisor Sweeney.
Aye. Motion carries. Can I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Moved by trustee Saturn,
Second.
seconded by trustee Nuredowski. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, 9:22.